What's up, crew? Welcome back to Libertalia Game Supply. Today we're going to take a look at a Dragon Ruler Tenpai deck I've been working on a little bit here. I was super pumped about the new Dragon Ruler support not being trash, and so I had to try it out. Got to shove all the stuff in there that I've been wanting to play around with, and this is what I ended up with. So we'll run through the list quick. I'll explain some things if I feel they need to be explained, and we'll get into a couple of combos that I've been trying to clean up here at the end. And as always, leave whatever suggestions down below. We'll see where this deck ends up by release day of the new Dragon Rulers in May with Alliance Insight. For the Ruler lineup, I think it's fairly straightforward. 3 on the Tempest, just because that's the one you're going to copy with chasmatis the most. 2 on the others. 1 of the Nebulous, because it's really more of a late game card, not necessarily a combo piece. Although I'm sure if you're clever enough, you can find a way to make use of this outside of just its recovery effect. The other 4 original baby rulers we're getting at 1 because they're okay when you see them. If you don't see them, they really don't matter all that much. And then 3 Spector because it's one of 2 1-card combos in the deck. The deck really doesn't have any 1-card combos that builds you like the board you're trying to end on, because this requires a discard to get that effect that you need, and this will only go into your Tenpai stuff unless you have something else to like expand upon it. And while we're talking about them, though, Tenpai lineup's pretty standard. 3 Paidra, 1 Chundra, 2 Genroku, and 1 Fadra. Just pretty straightforward there. We wanted to max out the 3 just because it is one of the only 1-card starters we have. I decided to go with the little Red Eyes package here with Max Metal Morph just because I really like the full metal. I wanted to be able to play it, and it fits in this deck really well. For the hand traps, we got triple Nib, triple Ash, and double Veiler, and it's only double Veiler because I don't like going above 40 unless I'm going all the way to 60, but you could definitely go above 40 with this deck and still probably be fine. A lot of it is interchangeable or generic enough to still make the deck run. I just don't really like that personally, I guess. For the spells, we've got 1 Summoning and 1 Kaiman. These are both search targets for the Paidra or a search for the Paidra, whichever situation you happen to be in. The 1 Dragon Ravine, it's a pretty main part of your combo. And the 1 Boot Sector Launch. The only reason this is in here is because it can be searched off of Striker Dragon, and almost always, once you make Striker Dragon, you're going to be going into Romulus, and so it just gives you that discard fodder, so you don't have to burn something else you might want. This probably doesn't need to be here, because you likely won't be going into that play with only like 1 or 2 cards in your hand. You're going to have a full hand, and so you could discard like anything. But for what it's worth, I've liked it so far, so it might stay in there for a little while, who knows. The Synchro lineup is also standard Tenpai, double Bident, because it's a level 7 dragon, so you can use it for your Xyz plays. It also gets you the extra body on board on summon, so you can use it for your Link plays. And then the 1 Transcend and 1 Trident, it just helps push for game. This is a pretty OTK heavy deck, and so I don't know that these are 100% necessary to keep in here, but I've been wanting to play them since this got reprinted, so I'm playing them, and that's my choice. The Link lineup was kind of explained already. Striker Dragon will go into Romulus, which will then probably end up going into Heretic Seal. The SP is only in here because it's a good card, but this could be something else if you wanted. For the Xyz, we got Big Eye and Flare Metal for the burn and the steal. If you wanted to play something else, that Volo Dragon Doom Rider, I can't pronounce its name, is also a good choice because when it has a dragon as material, it has a quick effect pop, so it could act as an interrupt if you're passing turn and leaving everything up. This does not do that. It's not a quick effect, so this would be more so trying to like close out a game, and this is just because burn damage. But once again, kind of in the same vein as these 2 guys, this deck does damage. That is not the problem, so maybe that's not necessary other than giving them something else to think about when trying to combo off really hard, because if they whittle themselves down too low, then you don't even really need much of a play to get through with enough damage to win. And then finally, the stars of the show, the Dragon Ruler extra deck lineup: 2 chasmatis, 2 eclepsis, and 1 disaster. Basically, the deck, the way it works now, is you're going to try to dump 1 of each attribute Dragon Ruler into the graveyard or in banishment. You'll make both of these guys on your way to doing so, and then you overlay these 2 into disaster, and it attaches 1 of each of them to itself as material and banishes every monster on your opponent's side of the field with an attribute of a material that it has. So everything, because you'll have light, dark, fire, earth, water, wind. So it clears the board out, and then it has 4,600 attack, which is, special lore note for you, the total combined points of attack and defense on each of the Dragon Rulers. If you want a little extra lore on the Dragon Rulers or the Tenpai, I'll post those videos down below, so you can check those out if you're interested in that. And that would be kind of your win condition. You wipe the board, 4,600 attack, boom, straight to the dome, and it's really easy to get the other 3,400 on there. The full metal alone does that. But back to these 2 guys, the chasmatis can detach and dump a Dragon Ruler to copy its effect, its discard effect. So you would copy a search, a dump, a reborn, or a pop. So it can act as a way to set up your own stuff or an interrupt if you wanted to. More often than not, it's going to be the search though. And then Eclepsis on summon can target 1 of your baby rulers. in your banishment or graveyard, and then summon its corresponding big ruler from your deck or banishment. So that goes for any of them. So like there are versions of combos that I've seen where you're targeting this to get this back after you've linked it away. The only reason I don't like that personally is because you're wasting one of these materials, which you can quick effect use on your opponent's turn. So it just seems like too good of a piece of interaction to just get rid of for a disaster, which is really better on your not first turn. And then it also has that negate effect, so you can detach 2 material. And then it also has a quick effect spell or trap negate, so you detach 2 material, negate one of those 2. Good for an ending board. We'll just touch on this stuff down here. Nothing super interesting. I just thought this kind of sucked more than I expected it to. Remus seemed kind of good. It puts itself as another body on board, and it can search the Dragon Ravine. Ultimately, though, the extra body didn't feel worth the slot because the Dragon Ravine is very, very easily searchable on your own. You can get to Romulus pretty much whenever you want. The Goliath, I think, does have a spot in this deck somewhere. It might find its way back in here eventually. Maybe if I decide no more Boot Sector launch. It's just a very easy floodgate to throw on the board. You can dump it at some point in the combo if you didn't need to do a certain play because your hand is filled up with some nice stuff, and then you can summon it with the Redox, either off of the chasmatis copy at the start of your opponent's turn to shut them all down, or with something else at the end of your turn once you've built your board and now they can't use their extra deck. And then these two are kind of the same reasoning on both. I didn't want to play more than one because space was tight already, and they're non-searchable, both of them. This in particular is kind of a sucky non-searchable situation there. This could have been okay, but it just never felt worth it. This felt worth it sometimes, but the fact that you can't search it, there's no way to dump it to your graveyard without having to play other things that you can't search, not so good. Its Monster Reborn effect was cool. Allowing you to go right into an Xyz could potentially set up a disaster play on your opponent's turn, so an interrupt there. And then the graveyard effect to banish and reload one of each attribute Dragon Ruler into your graveyard. Very nice. It's super unreliable. You just happen to see it or you don't, and there's no other way around that. So that's where we're at there. So let's jump into these combos here, and we'll talk about what we got going on. All right, so for number 1, we need Paidra, and we need a Dragon Ruler of any variety other than Lightning. No Lightning. We only play it at 1, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem, and you'll see why that matters in a minute. But this other Dragon Ruler will kind of change how you navigate the rest of the play. You just need all 4 of them in the graveyard or banishment, so keep that in mind and you just play around whichever one this is. So we'll start with this normal summon of Paidra. Paidra on summon is going to get our search. We'll grab our Kaiman. We'll use that Kaiman. We're going to grab ourselves a Genroku, and then because we searched Genroku, we're going to use the Genroku. We're going to summon it from the hand, and then we are going to get that +1 level effect here. We're going to synchro right away. We'll grab our Biden Dragon, and then Biden Dragon on summon is going to get us our Genroku back, and then Genroku is going to go away again, tributing itself to get us our Paidra. Paidra's effect on summon is going to get our Genroku back a 3rd time. And now we're set up to start link summoning, so we're going to go into Striker Dragon. Either of the little Tenpais will be fine. We'll get rid of this one because I accidentally put it in attack mode. We'll get our search for our discard fodder. And then we're going to link up into Romulus here using the other little Tenpai and the Striker Dragon. So we'll get this search. Search effect is going to grab us our Ravine. We'll activate Ravine, and then we're going to get this dump off of it. We're going to get rid of the Boot Sector, and this is where it starts to matter. You're playing around what card this is in your hand. We're going to dump this on our own at some point with Chasmatis. The rest of them we need to get in the graveyard somehow. So we'll go, we don't want Redox because we're going to be able to get to the Redox fine with the Reactant. We'll go Blaster. And then we're going to get the Blaster on the board. So right here, we got to banish 2. Do not banish the Reactant. We still need it in the hand for the second Romulus effect here. We'll go 1 and 2. We have Blaster, and we're going to summon Chasmatis into a zone that Romulus is pointing to. Has to be a zone it's pointing to trigger that effect. So we're going to activate the effect of Romulus. It'll special a dragon out of your hand. But Chainlink 2, we're going to dump the Tempest to get the search, and then we can get the Dragon Ruler that we actually want to summon. So once again, we don't want the Redox because Reactant will handle that. We're going to go ahead and grab the Title instead. And then with the Romulus effect, we can now special the Title instead of the Reactant. So that's why that Chainlink order matters. That's why keeping this in your hand matters. So now we do have access to the Tempest here, and now we will banish the Reactant. And the Blaster can be fine because it'll be on its way back to the board and then the graveyard soon enough. We can make our eclepsis. Now we have a baby in banishment so that we can trigger this eclepsis. So we're going to target that Reactant to get the special summon of Redox, throw it on the board, and then we'll link up into that Heretic Seal, and that'll be your end board there. Heretic Seal with that non-targeting bounce, Chasmatis with that copy effect, and then the negate from eclepsis. And then I suppose if you wanted to put another body on board if you happen to have the full metal or whatever. But we have access to all 4 of them to attach to Disaster whenever we get that far. Now for combo number 2 here, we need a Spector and then anything you can discard for Spector's effect. and we'll start by doing that right away. And this combo, I'll show you kind of how the red eye stuff will play into this. So the 2 we search will kind of matter. Can't be Tempest because we're going to dump that later, and it needs to be Blaster because it'll search one of our Tenpais, and then the other one can be up to you. So we'll grab the Redox. It does not matter. We're going to activate the Redox. We're going to banish, and then depending on what the second card is, if you wanted to leave this here to work on a chasmatis return summon or whatever, you can. For now, we're not going to worry about it. We'll summon that Redox, we'll trigger the Blaster, we'll get the search, and we're going to grab Genroku. Genroku is going to get that summon again because it's searched. And then the level up ability doesn't matter here, so we'll skip that. We're going to use its effect to tribute it off and get our Paidra. Paidra is going to search our Kaiman. And then we'll use this Kaiman. This time we're going to grab our Chundra, because it will summon itself from the hand and allow us to make a Synchro summon. So we'll use that Chundra effect, and then we're going to Synchro with it into Bident Dragon. We're going to use Bident Dragon's effect to put one of these back on the board. We'll go again Roku, but it doesn't matter. It's just link material. We're going to overlay for chasmatis, and we're going to get our search. So we're going to dump a Tempest. So now we've got 3 of the 4 handy somewhere out here out of the deck. We'll dump the Tempest to get the search, and the search is going to be Black Metal Dragon this time. So we have not normal summoned yet. This is going to be our normal summon. We'll put Black Metal on board, and then we're going to link it away for the Striker Dragon right away. Striker Dragon's effect is going to activate, as well as Black Metal Dragon. So we're going to go Chainlink 1 Black Metal Dragon, Chainlink 2 Striker Dragon, just to chain block that Black Metal to get the search. This search will be less important. The other one helps you finish off the combo. With this search, we're going to grab Red MD, and then we're going to use the Red MD by banishing Striker to put it on the board. And then we'll use its effect on the field to put Black Metal back on the board. And then we're going to link away the Black Metal again, along with the other Tenpai. And we're going to use the Romulus and the Black Metal effects right here. So now the chain link order is kind of going to be up to you. This effect needs to go through for Ravine to finish up the combo. This one, if you don't get it, then you don't get it, and it just ends you on the same board the previous one did. But we'll grab the Full Metal here, and we will grab the Ravine here. We'll activate our Ravine. We're going to dump by discarding Boot Sector, and we need to get the last one. Title's the only one we don't have access to yet. Dump it in the graveyard. We'll clear up this board a little bit, get rid of Red MD and Romulus to put Hieratic Seal on board, and then we're going to put 2 of our rulers. We have Title and Tempest available. We'll get rid of 1 and 2. There's Title. And then for Tempest, we'll get rid of 1 and 2. And now we have room for our eclepsis. Now here we don't have a baby to target because we just didn't play into that. We didn't see one. It could be an option to just link this away instead and then summon it back with the Spector, because we do have Spector in here somewhere. And then you are still alive for that disaster play, but we're passing the board. So I want to have this as a possible interrupt or search or body on board to put the Full Metal in play, which we will do right now, rather than just have it as an empty body with 3k attack. So we're going to grab the Max Metal, shuffle this back, and this is the board we're passing, but it is more than what we passed on previously. So we pass turn, and right here we have the option to activate either of these 2 effects. You're just going to hold them until you want to use them. Either one will put the body on board that you need for Max Metal to put that Omni Negate in Full Metal on the board alongside it. So you can either wait until something comes up that you want to bounce, tribute this, bounce it, and get a body, or you can do it right away. We'll just do that right now. We'll activate, dump a Redox this time to get the extra body we need. Redox effect will be copied, and we'll put that level 5 or higher dragon on the field. And then you can use this as a tribute for your Max Metal to put the Full Metal on board. So you have an Omni Negate with 3800 attack. You have a 3k, now does nothing. You have a 2700 with a Speller Trap Negate, and you have this bounce still available that will put another body on board. And you are set up for the Disaster, and with Full Metal and Disaster, you have AK damage and a clear board. So hopefully that is the end of it. And hopefully the rest of your hand are maybe some hand traps, so you're not just relying on these. But these used in the right spots should be enough to slow down a lot of decks. Maybe not like the best decks ever, but enough. You can have fun at locals. But that's going to be it for me today. And until I see you guys again, happy deck building. Have a good one. Goodbye.